Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braj Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braj Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Pari Brajakacharya Astotara Satashishi Mad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sukho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Arigor Bhaktarinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinatha Sharma Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Ki Jai Shrimati Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhaktarinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 65, Text 17, which is the beginning of a description of Lord Balaram's Rasayatra. It's a very auspicious day today. It's Chaitra Purnima. There are 2 months. We just celebrated Falgun Purnima, which is Gaur Purnima, the new year. At that time, Krishna had his holy Leela with the gopis along with Balaram. And 1 month passed, and then became the month of Chaitra. So Chaitra and Vaishak in Sanskrit are Madhu and Madhav. So we'll read this sloka now about these 2 months. Dvomasho tatra chavatsin Madhu madhavam evacha Ramakshapashu Bhagavan Gopinam Ratim Avahan Dvomasho Tatra Chavatsin Madhu Madhavam Evacha Ramakshaphasu Bhagavan Gopinam Ratim Avahan Dvomasho Tatra Chavatsin Madhumadavam Evacha Ramakshaphasu Bhagavan Gopinam Ratim Avahan. Mataji's? Dwo, 2, Maso, months, Tatra, there in Gokul, Cha, and Avatsit, resided, Madhum, Madhu, the first month of the Vedic calendar, at the time of the spring equinox. Madhavam, Madhava, the second month. Eva, indeed. Cha, also. Ramaha, Balaram. Kshapasu, during the nights. Bhagavan, the Supreme Lord. Gopinam, to the gopis. Ratim, conjugal pleasure. Avahan, bringing. Translation. Lord Balaram, the personality of Godhead, resided there for the 2 months of Madhu and Madhav. And during the nights, he gave his cowherd girlfriends conjugal pleasure. We can repeat together. Lord Balaram, the personality of Godhead, resided there for the 2 months of Madhu and Madhav. And during the nights, he gave his cowherd girlfriends conjugal pleasure. Purport. Srila Sridhar Swami states that the gopis who enjoyed conjugal affairs with Sri Balaram during his visit to Gokul had not taken part in Sri Krishna's rasa dance, being too young at the time. Srila Jiva Goswami confirms this statement by quoting a phrase from the Bhagavatam 10:15-8. Gopyo nantarena bujayo, which indicates that there are particular gopis who act as Lord Balaram's girlfriends. Furthermore, Jiva Goswami states that during the holy festivities celebrated when Krishna killed Shankachura, the gopis Lord Balaram enjoyed with were different from the ones Lord Krishna enjoyed with. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur agrees with this explanation. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantekam Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavari Paschatya Desha Tarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Arigor Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this is one of the leelas that took place on this auspicious day. Another very auspicious pastime was Lord Krishna's Basanta Rasa Leela. Why it's considered secondary, why we celebrate primarily as Balaram's Rasa Yatra, might be because it's a little esoteric. Aside from that, two very great Vaishnavas appeared on this day. One was Sri Shamananda Pandit, and the other was Sri Bansivadan Ananda Thakur. So Bansivadan Ananda Thakur, he's known by several names, Bansi, Bansi Das, Bansi Ananda. He was the manifestation of Lord Krishna's flute. He's not mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Lord Chaitanya and Advaita Chandra, they were present at the time of his birth in Kulia. And after Lord Chaitanya's disappearance, he served Srimati Vishnupriya Devi. And after her disappearance, he brought the deity of Lord Chaitanya that she worshipped, Sri Dameshwar, to Kulia and established the worship there. And at the bottom of the feet of that deity is Vansivedanta Thakur's name. So next is Sri Shamananda Pandit. He was one of the three great Vaishnavas who began the book distribution program of the Vaishnava philosophy. He was born in Orissa, and at the age of 20, he traveled to the ashram of his Guru Maharaj, Sri Hriday Chaitanya, who was a disciple of Gauridas Pandit. And there, under the shelter of the original Sri Sri Gaurnitai deities that were established personally by Gaurnitai, he took Diksha and was instructed by his Guru Maharaj, Hriday Chaitanya, to go to Vrindavan and learn the Bhakti Shastra from Jiva Goswami. So here in Vrindavan, he lived at the Radha Damodar temple under the auspices of Jiva Goswami, and he, Narottam Das, and Srinivas Acharya, they studied under Jiva Goswami. In particular, Shamananda, there are many, many different versions of how it happened and all the details. Just in general, while he was sweeping the Ras Mandal, because at that time there were no buildings, it was all Seva Kunj, and Radha Damodar temple was the principal temple there. So he would sweep at the Ras Mandal there at Seva Kunj, and he found the anklet of Srimati Radharani. She blessed him, and the tilak mark, the Shamananda tilak mark was placed on his nose and forehead. He later was instructed to travel, the three of them. They went to Bengal, Orissa, Bihar, traveled all over, and brought the books of the six Goswamis there. So now we'll go on to the pastimes of the Supreme Lord Shri Shri Krishna Balaram. So since we're discussing this sloka, any of us living here in Vrindavan have noticed the fragrance of the air, the aroma from the flowers. At night, intoxication coming from the trees. The birds, early in the morning, the cuckoos have started singing because the mango flowers are growing. The kingfishers, everyone is singing and enjoying this beautiful spring season. This equinox, that happens every year on March 20th, March 21st. It just passed. The equinox is when the day and the night are exactly the same. And from that time, it starts to get, the day increases and the night decreases, so it starts to get hot. So it's a beautiful time of year here in Vrindavan before the heat begins. And Balaram, by this time, Krishna and Balaram had left Mathura. Kamsa was dead. They had established the fort in Dwarka. They had both married. First Balaram married Revati, and then Krishna married the 8 queens. Later, the 16,100 queens, princesses. But Balaram and Krishna, they never wanted to leave Vrindavan. When Narada Muni came, the day that Keshi and Vyomasura were killed, and Narada Muni reminded Krishna of all of the pastimes that were to take place, Krishna was lamenting. Why do I have to leave? When will I come back? Tell me, after this and this, when am I going to come back to my beloved parents, my friends, my gopis? And then Narada Muni explained to him, you'll have many, many demons to kill before you can return. So at this time, when this incident happened, the rasalilas, there were still many demons who had not yet been killed. There was Jarasandha, there was Shishupal, Pondraka, Dantavakra, Vidurata, the king of Kashi, Dravida, many, many demons that Krishna and Balaram had to take care of before they could permanently return to Vrindavan. Not only that, Nanda Maharaj had told Krishna that you go now and give pleasure to the parents, Devaki and Vasudeva, and before coming back here, you should give them pleasure. So Devaki and Vasudeva, they didn't want Krishna to return to Vrindavan because they understood that the love of the Brijbasis was so powerful that if he happened to come back here, he might never leave here again. Balaram, on the other hand, now with Balaram it was a very different relationship, because we know that when Balaram was in the womb of his mother, Devaki, Krishna arranged, he called Yogamaya, and he told her, you have to transfer him to the womb of Rohini. Now, Rohini was one of the 13 wives of Vasudeva also. And because of the atrocities of Kamsa, Vasudeva had all of his wives put in different safe homes so that they would not be disturbed by Kamsa. And only Devaki and Vasudeva were kept in the jail. So by the arrangement of Yogamaya, Balaram was transferred to the womb of Rohini, and Balaram took his birth here at Mahavan. He never saw his parents, Vasudeva and Devaki. They knew that coming from Rohini, he must be the son of Vasudeva, but Balaram never met his parents. Krishna, on the other hand, because he appeared first as Vishnu to Devaki and Vasudeva. They offered their heartfelt prayers. He then instructed Vasudeva to take him to Gokul under the shelter of Nanda Maharaj. So Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda, they were knowingly, not to them, they always believed that Krishna was their child that was born. They didn't know what Vasudeva had done with the little girl, Yogamaya. So they believed Krishna was their son, and they understood that Balaram was the son of Rohini under their care. But because Balaram didn't even know his parents, Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda became just like parents to Balaram also. Nanda Maharaj would call him, later in this chapter, we'll read, he would call him the elder brother of Krishna. So they grew up together here, and then, unfortunately, they had to leave against their will because Kamsa had sent Akrura. He made a big arrangement to kill them, and Akrura explained everything to Nanda Maharaj about the yagya, why he had been sent. Krishna Balaram left on Dwadasi, and Kamsa was killed on the Chaturdasi. And then he thought the next day he'll come back with Nanda Maharaj. But that didn't happen, because 11 years they had waited to see their sons, Balaram and Krishna. And Devaki and Vasudeva didn't want them to leave. They wanted them to stay with them in Mathura. For 19 years they had to stay in Mathura. And then because of the atrocities of Jarasandha and the looming of Kalyavana coming with millions of Mlecha soldiers, Krishna made a bridge and created the Dwarka fort. And all the residents of Mathura were transported to Dwarka. And Krishna Balaram, after tricking Jarasandha for the last time, also went there to live. So it was a very long time since they had seen their mother and father, Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda, and all of their friends and beloveds. And for Balaram, they were everything. He knew nothing but them. So his heart was torn between Krishna in Dwarka and his family and friends in Braja. So finally, this is long before the Rajasuya, all of that. They had some children, both of them, but Balaram could not bear the separation anymore. And one day, crying, he went to Krishna, "We have to go back to Braj. Nanda, Yashoda, they're blind from crying. Everyone is crying for you especially. Let us go." So Krishna told him, "You can go, but you know Vasudeva and Devaki will never allow me to go." So Balaram went and asked them, and they wouldn't give their permission. They said, "You can go, but Krishna has to stay here." So with the blessings of Krishna, Krishna followed him and gave him very specific instructions that you go alone so no one can recognize you, and you go in the dress of a cowherd, a forest dweller, just like the people in Braj wear their clothes, and you give them messages. So now, twice Krishna will have sent messages. He sent first with Uddhava, and Uddhava presented those messages to conciliate, to pacify the Brijbasis. Now he was sending with Balaram. And these messages were much more heart-touching because they didn't know Uddhava. Uddhava was from a different family. He didn't grow up in Braj. But Balaram was one of them. So these messages were very, very heart-touching that Balaram brought to everyone. So when he arrived on the outskirts coming from Dwarka, everyone embraced him, welcomed him, and they were expecting Krishna to come right afterwards, but he couldn't come. Then he went to see Nanda and Yashoda. He spent the first 2 days seeing his friends, the older cowherd men, going to the assembly. On the third day, he found where the gopis were. The gopis were living in complete separation from Krishna. So he went to that place, a secluded place, and he gave their messages, the messages that Krishna had sent for them. And then the gopis made a request that we have been waiting for Krishna to come. Despite all of his horrible behavior towards us, he left us, he forgot us, he didn't care for all of our service. At the time of this holy festival, we know what holy is like here. Holy, there are no rules and regulations. It's springtime. Everyone's enjoying with spring fever. So Krishna and Balaram, it was like that also. In fact, there was so much spring fever that Nanda Maharaj would make the holy festival for 45 days, from Basant Panchami up to Holy Purnima, Gaur Purnima. 45 days they would play holy in all the different villages. Still going on today, these different villages where they play holy. So at that time, when they were playing holy, they were having, at night, they were playing holy and they were dancing together. And Krishna had his gopis who loved him. And there were some very young gopis who didn't have a relationship with Krishna. But they came to play holy along with the older gopis. And they became Balaram's gopis at that time, the holy festival. So Balaram was dancing with his gopis. Krishna was dancing with his gopis. Shankachura came, stole them all by force. Balaram and Krishna chased him, killed him. Balaram protected all the gopis. By that time now, there was a specific group of 2 gopis. So when Balaram met Krishna's gopis at that time, when he returned to Braja, these gopis explained to Balaram that your gopis, they were so young at that time, they didn't take part in Krishna's rasalila. They didn't have a relationship with Krishna. Their relationship was with you. And they have been waiting all this time for you to return. They're just sitting in their homes, sickly, waiting. So they requested Balaram, now you've come back. We want you to marry your gopis. And Balaram said, I can marry them, but I can't do it without Krishna's permission. He's not here. So the gopis, headed by Radharani, said, we will take permission from the elders. They went, they took permission. Everyone agreed. This is the right thing to do. All these gopis have been waiting for you. So Balaram, he took his gopis, and at the places where Krishna did not have his rasalila with his gopis, he took them to a faraway place, way far after Akshay Bhat, way in the north of Braj, to a place called Ramagat. It's near the Jamuna. And there, by Gandharva rites, he married all of his gopis. And for the 2 months that he was here in Braj, confidentially, he enjoyed with his gopis there at Ramagat. There are many pastimes that took place at that time. The demigods, the Gandharvas, they would come, they would always like to come in the clouds and watch the pastimes of Krishna and Balaram in Braj. So Varuna, he wanted to please Balaram. He sent his daughter Varuni. She was the deity in charge of a special honey liquor. So she came in the form of this flowing liquor from a kadamba tree. She introduced herself, my father has sent you. And Balaram enjoyed that liquor, that honey liquor, not just wine, but honey liquor, distilled honey with the gopis. And that made everyone very happy in their dancing. And then after extensive dancing, he was perspiring from the exertion. He wanted to swim in the Jamuna. He called the Jamuna. Now we know that Krishna married Kalindi, the Jamuna river. So are there 2 Jamunas here, Jamunas there in Dwarka? So the acharyas explain that this Jamuna, she's the wife of the ocean. She's a vibhuti of Kalindi, an expansion of her. So she saw that Balaram was behaving like an intoxicated young man. She said, I'm not going to go near him. So Balaram, in his intoxication, he got angry. He started calling her ill names, Papi, Kamacharini, that means you go wherever you want, you don't listen. And he started to drag her, because even in his play, he would carry his plow and his musal. So with his plow, he started to drag her from her course, and he brought her to the middle of Vrindavan. And she then surrendered herself, and Balaram and the gopis then enjoyed in her waters. Now, it's a full moon night, and by Balaram's potency, for the next 2 months, the moon remained full as he was dancing. So then we come to the next pastime, and that is the Basanta Ras of Lord Sri Krishna. Mistakenly, people believe that the pastime of Aristasura took place in Kartik. But according to the Padma Purana, the Vishnu Purana, and the explanations of our acharyas, the pastime of killing of Aristasura and the establishing of Shamakund and Radhakund and the Govardhan Rasayatra took place today. This Purnima, Chaitra Purnima. So how that happened was, Kamsa, after Shankachura was killed, Krishna was 9 years old at that time. Shankachura had come, he was a yaksha, a follower of Kuvera, but he had come under the influence of Kamsa, and he was roaming around, and he saw the beautiful gopis, and he saw Krishna. He understood how the gopis were so beautiful. He decided he wanted to steal them and take them for Kamsa's pleasure. That's why he stole the gopis. Then Krishna and Balaram killed him. So after the death of Shankachura, by that time, Kamsa had seen Putana, Trinavarta, Agasura, Vatsasura, so many demons that he had sent had all been killed by some unknown little boy named Krishna. He didn't know who was doing it, actually. Dhenukasura also, by that time. So Kamsa decided he was saving his most powerful demons because he didn't want to lose everyone. He sent the weaker ones, like first he sent the woman, then he sent, like that. His most powerful demons were Aristasura and Keshi. So he called them both. He said, you have to go kill this little boy. Now he's even killed Shankachura. So Aristasura immediately, he took the form of a bull. He wasn't a bull. Just as Putana took the form of a beautiful woman, because asuras can do that, they have mystical powers. So he took the form of a powerful bull, not an ordinary bull. This bull, his hump touched the clouds. They were hovering around the hump on his back. When his hooves, wherever he dug in the earth, by the crying of the earth, water would come as her tears. Very powerful demon. So when he entered Braj, there was a terrible disaster. He started to kill the cows. Now, no bull would kill cows, but this was Aristasura. He was killing the cows, and the women and the other cows were so distraught they were having miscarriages. And all of the cowherd men and women, they were hiding in different places from this terrible demon. Now, Krishna had gone that day to Govardhan with the cows, with his boyfriends, as he would do every day, to herd the cows. And he heard about the commotion that Aristasura was making in Braj. And he decided he had to come and save the day. Everyone was calling for Krishna as soon as there's a calamity. So he came and he rested his arm on one of his friend's shoulders, and he immediately confronted Aristasura. Why are you disturbing all of the residents? Why are you killing the cows like this? So Aristasura attacked him, and Krishna, he was a cowherd boy. He knew how to control the bulls. He grabbed them by the horns, threw him. Aristasura fell on his back. His legs were flailing in the air. Finally, he got up, attacked again. This time, Krishna broke off his horn and smashed his face with the horn. And then he was dying. Finally, he died. And everyone was cheering and so happy. So Krishna, it was one more demon. Every day some demons would come. This was just one more demon for Krishna. He had his other plans, what he wanted to do that day. But the gopis, they said, well, you've just killed a bull. We're not going to associate with you anymore. You're a bull killer. And Krishna said, well, he wasn't a bull. He was a demon. I had to kill him. They said, you have to do atonement. You have to bathe in all the holy places. By that time, Krishna, he wanted to, nighttime was coming, and every night he would enjoy Ras with his girlfriends. He said, well, I don't have time to go to all the holy places. I'll just bring them all here. So one by one, he called all the holy rivers and the lakes and the oceans. They all came, and with his heel, as he was fighting with Aristasura, he made an indentation, and all of the holy places put their waters into that, what became a pond, this Shama Kund, Krishna Kund, and then Krishna bathed there. Then he was taunting Radharani and the gopis that, you see this beautiful pond I made? You come and swim with me here also. They said, no, we're not going to touch your pond. It's full of your sinful reactions. All right, you make your own pond then. So they weren't going to have anything to do with Krishna's pond. They made Radha Kund. They brought thousands of gopis. They brought pots of water from Manasi Ganga. And then all the holy places requested Radharani, let us go into your kund also. So now they had two beautiful kunds. But the purpose of all of this wasn't happening, and that was Krishna's rasalila. It was a beautiful night. Krishna wanted to enjoy. So there's a place at Govardhan called Pasoli, and this is where Krishna had his springtime rasalila on this night. This is, we hear the pastimes when Krishna was hiding from the gopis, and he took the form of Narayan at the village of Peta. So all of those Govardhan rasalila pastimes took place on this beautiful night of Chaitra Purnima. So two very beautiful pastimes took place. Now, while Balarama was here in Braj, Krishna was in Dwarka still, and there were still many demons to kill. Balarama, he knew he had to go back and help Krishna, but while he was here, messengers were being sent back and forth. Nanda Maharaj would always send his messengers to Dwarka to find out what Krishna was doing. Krishna would send his messengers to inform Nanda Maharaj. So messengers came and said, Pondraka has just been killed, and the king of Kashi. So Balarama wanted to hear the story. He was here in Braj enjoying, wow, Krishna's killing the demons without me now. So Balarama understood he had a big responsibility, because all the Brijbasis were just waiting for Krishna to come back. And Krishna couldn't come back until all the demons were killed. So after 2 months, Balarama decided, he promised all of the cowherd men, gopis, his friends, everyone, I will bring Krishna back. Krishna is suffering separation from you just as you are suffering from him. So I will go, I will help Krishna, I'll speed things up by killing more of the demons with him. So he left Braj again after these 2 months. He went back, and the first demon that he helped Krishna kill was Duvida. Duvida was in Ram's army. Although he didn't have a good opinion of Lakshman, he assisted Ram during the great battle with Ravana. So he had done devotional service, and he had lived for such a long time, just as Jambavan had, but he had fallen into bad association with Narakasura. So when Krishna killed Narakasura, he became inimical to Krishna, and Balaram, of course. So Balaram, having married Revati, he brought Revati with other beautiful, noble ladies to the Raivataka mountain one night when he returned to Dwarka, and he was dancing there, and Dravida came and made a terrible ruckus, insulting the girls and fighting with Balaram. So Balaram killed him easily. But then the biggest demons that were still awaiting Krishna's killing them was Jarasandha and Shishupal, and ultimately Dantavakra and Vidurata, which were the last demons that Krishna killed. So the whole pastime that we read in Srimad Bhagavatam of the Rajasuya sacrifice and how that was performed by Krishna tricking Jarasandha, Bhima killing Jarasandha, all of those pastimes happened after Balaram returned to Dwarka. And then finally, after Shishupal was killed, that upset the demons even more. And his dear friend was Dantavakra. So Dantavakra, he wanted to kill Krishna then. And Narada Muni, who's always trying to speed up the pastimes, he told Dantavakra that Krishna, you wait in Mathura, and Krishna will come and you can kill him there. So there was a big fight. After Dantavakra was killed very easily by Krishna, then his brother came, Vidurata, and then finally all of the demons were killed. And at that time, because Narada Muni arranged it, Dantavakra was killed right at the outskirts of Braj. At that time, Krishna and Balaram were able to return here to Braja. He had his chariot. Daurika was standing there at the chariot. He entered. So these beautiful pastimes of Krishna and Balaram, they're longing to be again with the Brijbasis, and the Brijbasis simply waiting for Krishna and Balaram to return and take them away to a place where Akrura will never find them, and then finally they all return to the spiritual world, Goloka Vrindavan. So we have this beautiful day to remember these pastimes, the rasalila of Balaram with his gopis at Ramagat, and then the rasalila of Krishna with his gopis at Govardhan. We can visit these places, we can read about the pastimes, and we can appreciate the love that Krishna and Balaram have for their dear devotees here in Vrindavan. And we can thank Krishna and Balaram for allowing us to serve them here in our Krishna Balaram temple. And hopefully we can all enter into these pastimes of Krishna and Balaram. Thank you. Any questions? Yes, Prabhu.
When it says Krishna never leaves Vrindavan, there's an explanation that there's a bhava form that Krishna leaves behind, maybe, the intense desire for the gopis to be with Krishna. Maybe you could speak a little bit about the bhava form, what it means that if he's actually left or his bhava form is what. And there was one more thing, but maybe you can just speak on that.
Yes, the bhava form. When Krishna sent messages with Uddhava the first time, he was explaining to them that the real reason that I left you and haven't come back is because I want you to increase your meditation upon me. Because by that meditation, I will always be present with you. This is what we do when we chant the holy name of the Lord. Krishna is present in his name. So if we're always meditating on the Supreme Lord, and we understand the omnipotence of the Supreme Lord, by talking about him, by hearing about him, by remembering him, by serving him, all of these 9 different processes of devotional service keep Krishna with us at all times, especially the hearing and the chanting of his holy name. So this helps us to understand the potency of Sri Krishna, how he's present wherever his glories are being chanted. And this is what the gopis did the whole time Krishna was away. They simply remembered him. They remembered his smiles. They remembered his beautiful face. They remembered his laughter. They remembered his embraces. They remembered all the pastimes they shared with him. And by that memory, that smaranam, they kept Krishna with them at all times. So that's the bhava expansion. Aside from that, Krishna, he performed also spurtis. Spurtis are when the Supreme Lord appears. So when Krishna was sending Balaram to Braja, he said, you give them my messages. You try to shantavayam, you try to pacify them, and you conciliate. You're my representative. You explain to them that I can't come until the demons are all killed, and in the meantime, you simply remember me, chant my names, remember our pastimes together. And when the remembrance of the Lord becomes strong enough, there's what's called a spurti, when the Lord actually manifests himself before the devotee. So this is a very high level of pure Krishna consciousness, but Balaram was able to do that when he spoke with the devotees. He was able to actually bring Krishna present before them because of their intense love and his intense love and affection for Krishna. That's a spurti.
Prabhupada was in New York in '66 said, you know, I'm really not happy to be away from Vrindavan. I'm really happy here. But then it's said that when a pure devotee thinks of Vrindavan, he actually experiences Vrindavan, or he experiences Krishna just by the meditation.
Yes.
So Prabhupada's meditation on Vrindavan and him expressing that he's unhappy not being in Vrindavan, but just by thinking of Vrindavan or the Vrindavan conscious, you can also be in Vrindavan, but not, it doesn't seem like, maybe physically, right?
No, physically also. And that's why Srila Prabhupada specifically installed Radha Krishna deities all over the world, because wherever there's Radha and Krishna, naturally there has to be Vrindavan. He created Vrindavan all over the world. And he described that if you can instill these 4 regulative principles and the chanting of the holy name, then the whole world will become like Vaikuntha. So Prabhupada intentionally installed deities of Radha Krishna all over the world so that Vrindavan would be expanded all over the world. Okay? Thank you.
I find it interesting that Krishna is perfect in Dwarka, more perfect in Mathura, and most perfect in Vrindavan. And we find that he actually spent more time in Mathura than Vrindavan, yet there isn't a very big volume of pastimes of Krishna in Mathura.
Are you sure you have that right? I think it's most perfect in Braj, perfect in Dwarka, more perfect in, yeah. He had it right.
Yeah.
Mathura is more perfect than Dwarka, correct?
Yeah, and Vrindavan most perfect.
Most perfect.
But we don't seem to have much information on Mathura Leela.
There is a lot of information. Krishna did a lot at that time. There are many, many chapters of Krishna at that time before he entered Dwarka, from the time that he left,
Yes.
and the vision of Akrura,
Yes.
and then when he killed Kuvalayapida, he killed the wrestlers, he met with Kubja, and then his parents sent him to the ashram of Sandipani Muni, and then he was able to go and retrieve the son of Sandipani Muni. So there are many, many, I forget exactly how many chapters, it's about 20 chapters or so.
Yeah, 20. But 20 out of 90, it's still,
Yeah, well-
there's 40 in Vrindavan, 20 there.
Yes, so there are many chapters describing Krishna's
Yes.
pastimes, how he blesses his devotees there.
Yes.
It's just we don't have much taste for those pastimes, so therefore we kind of, that's the problem. We're more interested in the Vrindavan
Vrindavan.
pastimes. So, but there were many pastimes. Of course, Krishna didn't have his flute there, he didn't have his peacock feather. It's a different form of Krishna. So we prefer to hear the Vrindavan pastimes. All right, no more questions? Oh, okay.
Hare Krishna Mataji. To hear you is like, for me, it's better than hear you than reading Krishna book.
He said, hearing me is like hearing Krishna book. Yes. Thank you, that's a great compliment.
I get better understanding by hearing you.
Oh, thank
So
you.
Mataji, you have information, you can get information about Lord Balaram descendant?
Lord Balaram's descendants?
Yes, please.
It's not mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam, but in the commentaries of Srila Jiva Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravarti, Baladev Vidyabhushan, it's described that he had 2 sons and 1 daughter. And more than that I haven't read. So he did have children, and that's as much as I can tell you, because that's as much as I found out from the commentaries of the Goswamis. I don't remember the names of the children, but they were the children from Revati. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Jai. Fine. Oh, yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for nectarian words. I have this question from like way back. Like when we hear that there were separate section of the gopis who were loving Balramji.
Yes.
So like when we establish the concept of bhakti itself, we keep like Krishna is the main with which the living entities, they will have relationship. So whether it's the Shantaras, Dasaras, Madhurya and Sakhyaras. So how to now see this position of these gopis who loves Balramji now? So who is Krishna for them? Definitely he is an younger brother of their
Yes.
lover.
Yes.
So, but, like how to fit the definition that when we say that Anya Bhilashita Shunya Jnana Karma Avritam Anukulena Krishnanu Shilanam Bhakti Ruttama. So the very basic definition of the bhakti was related to Krishna. So
Yes.
everything was kept under him. So now I always perplexed like how these gopis, with what emotions they will diversify themselves. Like they have their heart for the Balram, and now means what is the paddhati for them as well? Who will join their group? It's like, so how will...
Krishna, he's unlimited. And the different forms that he assumes are also unlimited. And each one of these forms has his own planet. Planet means plane of consciousness, own set of devotees. For instance, Lord Nrsingadev, the Dasavatar, they all have their particular devotees. They're all expansions of Krishna according to the amounts of potency depending upon what they have to perform, what their duties will be. So Balaram also, being the very first expansion of Krishna, he had particular duties to perform. He further expanded as Ananta Shesha. He holds up all the planets. He's very powerful. Mahashankarshan, and then Shankarshan. And in each one of these expansions of the Supreme Lord, they have their consorts, they have their friends, their devotees, their lovers. Each manifestation of the Supreme Lord has a set of devotees. And they, just like Sita Devi only loves the Supreme Lord in the form of Ram. Correct? Just like the gopis, they only love Krishna holding a flute. When they saw Narayan, they weren't interested in him. They just asked Narayan, have you seen Krishna? They couldn't recognize that Narayan was actually Krishna because he had taken another form. So all these forms of the Supreme Lord, expansions of Krishna, Krishna is supreme in all of the 6 opulences, full. And each of the expansions, they have particular purposes and particular vibhutis or opulences according to what they have to perform. So the Balaram explained to the gopis when he met them privately, he said, I see you all as my daughters-in-laws, as, you know, you're the wives of my younger brother. He was mixed in a relationship of friendship and vatsalya ras with Krishna. Whereas Uddhava, he was mixed in a relationship of friendship and dasya rasa. So each devotee will see Krishna and Krishna's associates according to their relationship. And we can't say that loving Ram is less than loving Krishna, loving Balaram is less than it's a particular rasa that each devotee has with the Supreme Lord in that particular manifestation. They're all forms of Krishna to lesser and lesser and lesser degrees. Okay, so they're all still loving Krishna, but in that particular form. Does that answer your question?
Yes, Mataji. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Jai.
So when Krishna had the Rasa dance, he just danced with their spiritual form, it says sometimes. Only the spiritual form came out.
Yes. Yes, according to the Krishna book, the gopis' bodies were still lying in their homes next to their husbands.
I think that Krishna doing the expansions, that's something that he can explain to Balaram, like after he expanded as the cows and the cowherd boys, but it's not something that can exactly be explained by us to us. No matter how great of mathematicians we may think we are, it's beyond our ability.
We're also expansions of Krishna,
Yes.
but our, you know,
Not to that degree, though.
we have so little potency.
Krishna explained it to Balaram about how he expanded to the
Yes.
cows. And even Brahma with 4 heads, he couldn't understand it. So
No,
if
no.
he can't, I think it's beyond our ability.
Even Krishna, he becomes attracted to his own form, Krishna. Krishna's so attractive.
Isn't it, if that's, like you say, if that's their rasa or their swarupa, they're happy with that. That's their existence.
Yes, yes.
They don't want to change to something
Right.
else.
We've all been created to give Krishna pleasure in a particular way. That's our Siddha Swarup
Yes.
that we're aspiring for.
Something to look forward to.
Okay. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Jai.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,